When you came to Los Angeles, why did you come to Los Angeles? How did that happen?
Well, this is going to be the title of my autobiography when I finally finish it, and it's going to be called Reform School or Hollywood, because that's what my parents said to me. They really did, because I was out of control. I mean, I was a punk before there were punks, and they burnt my clothes, and my parents did, and they said, we just don't know what to do with you. And my older sister Joan was an actress in Hollywood. She was making films with Paul Newman and Harry Belafonte, and they said, your sister is an actress, you can go there, Reform School or Hollywood. And they really meant it. And I said, I think I'll take Hollywood. So I got on a plane. I was just about to be 16. And I fell in love with Los Angeles, fell in love with it.
Many don't, as you know, the city of angels, and many don't. But for you, no culture shock?
No culture shock. It was like coming home for me. I lived in this apartment building that was like Melrose Place, so there were all these would-be actors and writers and directors, and they all had these apartments around a communal pool. And in fact, there's a Canadian television show that I've been loving recently called LA Complex.
Yes.
Which reminded me of where I lived. And it was like that. And I just fell in with everybody. And in fact, some of the characters I wrote about in Hollywood Wives, which was my takeoff book in America, were people that I lived with at that time.
And when you make a movie, when you act in a movie, you acted in a British B movie and then other more substantial movies as it goes down.
Well, I was not.
Does that call to you?
No, not at all.
No.
I was not I never considered myself an actress. I considered myself an out-of-work writer. And I only did movies when I was a teenager. And I did, The Saint with Roger Moore. And I had a movie called Barnacle Bill where I had to throw Alec Guinness over my shoulder as we rock and rolled. Or he had to throw me over his shoulder. He's a very small man and I'm a very tall woman. It was quite funny. And so I liked, it was fun. It was making money. But I always considered myself an out-of-work writer. I was always scribbling away, because it was my passion.
An out-of-work writer, 3 husbands,
Two.
2 husbands.
2 husbands and a fiancé for 6 years.
Oh, and that was a tragic story.
My husband died of prostate cancer, and then my fiancé, who was like, we were engaged for 6 years, we never got married because we liked to go to Hollywood parties and sit together. And I remember we went to a Hollywood party once, and the hostess sat me at a separate table to him and sat him next to Sophia Loren. And everybody was going up to them and saying, what a wonderful couple you are.
Yes.
Which pissed me off no end.
Well, you see,
yes,
they want to mix us up so that a good hostess, supposedly, the Pamela Digby Churchills, mixes you up.
I know. But he was
connect.
a great guy. He looked like a hero out of one of my books. And he jogged and was very healthy and got sick one Christmas. I'll never forget it. And then 3 months later was gone.
And do you have a fear of being alone, of living your life out? Not that you will, but living your life out alone, with fame, with fortune.
I just took my 12 members of my family to the Bahamas for Christmas. It was so great. I love living by myself. I've been married all my life, or engaged. And to be by myself, I feel like a page out of Playboy. I've got the great house, the great car. I can do what I want. I can go where I want. I'm in total control. I'm in control of the clicker for the TV. Very important to me. I'm a TV addict. And I just love it. I love the freedom.
And 96 million in the bank or something like that helps.
I don't know. We can't believe what we read.
No. But what about money? Money as a driving force for you? It seems to me you're driven more by passion.
Yeah, by passion. The money thing, I mean, when people estimate how much money you've got, I think it's ridiculous because they don't take into account that you're paying taxes, that you're living expenses, that you're paying an agent, you're paying a PR, you're paying all these people, and they don't take that into account, and I just laugh at those things.
And you also give back. You give back big time. You've given back in this city with Face the World Foundation.
I'm really looking forward to the event. Jackie Cohen does such an amazing job. She's really a life force. She's a woman that, she loves life. She gets up every morning. She wants to do something, and she doesn't have to, but she does. And I just love doing stuff with her. Last time I was in Canada with her, we went to an abused women's shelter, and it was so rewarding for me to talk to these women and to hear their stories and to realize how terribly difficult it is for a woman to get out of a situation when you have no money, when you have no power, when you're married to a man who probably says, if you leave me, I'm going to kill your family. These threats are so they're so close to home
Exactly.
for people because they can't do anything about it. And Jackie helps, and she's wonderful, and she raises all this money every year. So
And born to the Army and Navy fortune, and still goes to the Army and Navy shoe sale and runs the show.
oh, honey,
and
she's
all of
taking
that.
me to the Army and Navy this afternoon. I'm going.
I bet you are. We used to call it at our house the A&N boutique.
Oh,
you know how
I love it.
J.C. Penney
Yes.
in the States, my father used to say, "Are you going to J.C. Penney?" And I go, "Yes, I'm going to J.C. Penney because it's the only store we can afford."
Oh.
Dad.
But you know,
But-
it's interesting. I love those kind of stores, though. I mean, you know, I live in Beverly Hills. and
Really?
Everybody wants to go to Barney's and Neiman's, and I say, let's go to Target. Target is great. It's like Target. We call it Target, but
So
it's like.
Jackie Collins is rifling through the rack at Nordstrom's.
I like that. That's fun. Yeah, that's
Do you
fun.
have protectors? Because people
No,
must stop
no,
you.
no. They do stop me, but they stop me and they talk about my characters. They'll go, oh, you know, I love Bianca in the Power Trip. She's such an interesting, fabulous supermodel. Is it Naomi Campbell? I go, no, it's not Naomi. But she might have given me the inspiration for that character. And they come up to me and they will talk about Flynn, how much they love him, and they want him, you know, to come back in another book, which I will bring him back. They talk
You
about
have to
Bobby
bring him back.
Santangelo.
I won't say why, but you have to bring him back.
Yeah, I
I
wanna
liked
bring-
his partner, this intriguing partner, the Asian
girl
who really wasn't his partner. Can I tell that?
Yeah, you can tell.
Really
that
not
because
his partner.
She
She
kind of
was
likes men and she
bisexual.
likes women. Yes,
Very brainy.
very clever, very
And-
attractive,
and
with a really very disturbing background. Yes, I love creating different characters. There's a lot of characters in the Power Trip, but each one, I want you to know who that character is the moment you read them.
And you've obviously met red-blooded males who marry beauty but are intrigued by brains. Not that you can't have both.
This is very true. You know, you see that in Hollywood all the time. You see the decrepit old man who's like 30 years older than the beautiful young wife. And if you've been in Hollywood for several years, or many years, which I have, you see what happens when the decrepit old man gets even more decrepit, and suddenly there's this beautiful young wife who's stuck with this really old man. And then things start to change. It's very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you could say gold digger or not. I sense at times, if you're
Yes.
with an extremely older man, that maybe it is love at some level, or is it money?
I don't know. You know, I was at a dinner lunch the other day for a fashion thing, and there was this gorgeous young guy comes out in swimming trunks, and one of the Hollywood wives turned to the other one and said, "Oh yeah, looks just like my husband." Her husband, who was like 78, you know, and she was like 40. So
Right.
interesting.
Well, interesting.
Always
but
interesting.
You can go the other way.
Yes.
Younger man, older women. You've written about that in your books.
Well,
Have
my
you yet?
sister is married to a man who is much younger than her, and I just surprised her on her birthday in Paris. I flew to Paris to surprise them. He arranged the whole thing with me. And he is the most fantastic guy. Of her 6 husbands, he's totally the best.
Really?
Yeah.
Because our former Prime Minister, Kim Campbell, is,
Yes.
which is with a much younger man, too. He's a musician and phenomenal. And I'm saying much younger.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, exactly. Nothing wrong with
Hope
that.
springs
Except-
eternal.
Yeah, well, I think people kind of criticize it because they don't
Right.
quite understand it. But when it works, it certainly works.
Sure, and you and I know goose and gander. What's good
Exactly.
for the goose is good for the gander.
Exactly. The double standard is something I've always hit.
We'll return with best-selling author, early actor, and animated storyteller Jackie Collins. Her new hot novel is called The Power Trip.